behind, and sent Madison flying several meters. She fainted on the spot. Before long, the police received a call from a neighbor. When they rushed to the scene, they were also startled by the man's gruesome state. What puzzled them even more was that there were no signs of forced entry anywhere in the house. How on earth had the killer got in? The next day, the detective in charge of the case arrived at the hospital. He had intended to question Madison about the incident, but Madison, having lost the baby she was carrying, was simply unable to answer any questions. Meanwhile, after interviewing Madison's neighbors, Moss uncovered two crucial pieces of information. Firstly, Madison's husband had a history of domestic violence. Secondly, Madison had suffered 3 miscarriages over the past 2 years, combined with the lack of forced entry at the crime scene. Moss concluded that Madison was the prime suspect. A fortnight later, Madison had just returned home from hospital when she happened to notice the streetlight downstairs suddenly beginning to flicker inexplicably. Immediately afterwards, she saw a figure in black approaching. Her nerves, which had only just begun to settle, were once again on edge. Madison rushed downstairs and bolted all the doors and windows. After struggling through the night, she proceeded to board up all the doors and windows with planks. Even her sister, who came to visit her, could only climb in through a second-floor window. One can only imagine just how deeply this had scarred Madison's psyche. One day, whilst Madison was preparing to do the laundry, the wound on her head suddenly began to throb with pain. She quickly felt the back of her head. It had been over a month, yet the wound had still not healed. Even more eerie was that, just as she tossed the dirty clothes into the tumble dryer, she suddenly saw the face of a strange woman mysteriously appear on the glass door of the machine. Just then, the figure in black stepped forward, grabbed the stranger by the hair, and slammed her violently to the floor. Immediately, the entire room began to shift and warp, and Madison found herself inexplicably transported to the woman's home. Before she could make sense of what was happening, she saw the figure in black pick up a trophy, and, in a frenzy, smash it against the woman's head dozens of times. The next second, Madison was back in her own home. At first, she thought she'd merely had a dream, but what she didn't know was that the police had already arrived at the crime scene and had reached a conclusion. The woman's death was just as gruesome as that of Madison's husband, so they concluded that both cases were the work of the same killer. And this time, the victim was called Glenn. She was an excellent pediatric surgeon,